And just what a load of that was.
That's heavy on my social media. Like, I follow really beautiful girls, and some days they can make me feel really motivated, and then other days they make me feel absolutely shit about myself.
All the best intentions of creating something, going on there looking for inspiration, and then next thing you know, you're watching some clamp crush a Coke can for like 3 hours. Welcome to One More Like, where digital life meets real life moments. I'm Charlie.
And I'm Georgia. Let's go.
Today we're talking about our relationship with the digital world as we discuss unhealthy habits, how they can overpower us, and how we can fix them using 3 easy steps.
I'm super excited to do this episode, so let's explain. It's the idea that you are not addicted to your phone, you're hooked on how it actually makes you feel. So today we're calling out the 5 toxic habits we fall into online and how to take your power back. Habit 1 is comparison culture.
Yeah, I think this for me is probably the worst one out of the 5.
Yeah.
Comparison culture. Like, I actually remember a few years ago taking some time away from social media because of this. And having worked in sports and entertainment, I found that working with clients, that this was a big problem for me as well. It just seems to be driven by comparison. Everybody's talking about what everybody else has and not what they have. And for me, that's a big problem.
Comparison culture for me is more for a girl when it comes to body image, that sort of thing. That's heavy on my social media. Like, I follow really beautiful girls, and some days they can make me feel really motivated, and then other days they make me feel absolutely shit about myself. I think one of the biggest things as well with comparing, you feel like you're always behind in your life. So certain people are doing certain things and you're like, oh, well, I haven't got there yet. So it just makes you doubt your own life, not even as a person, just your whole existence. It's quite a powerful thing to have.
Yeah, like as a guy, you're just looking at the cars people are driving, the watches people are wearing, the houses, traveling. I think travel's a big one. Like, you constantly see people.
Even with your work. Like, for example, you said about yours, but when I was a makeup artist, because I was self-taught, I used to watch other makeup artists, and I didn't know their training background, but I could see that they had different techniques that I didn't have and that I couldn't do certain things. So that would put a block on me even going for certain jobs. And it would it's a confidence thing. It's all obviously my issue, but having all of that online so easily accessed constantly, it did just make me think, oh, am I even good enough to do this sort of stuff? And I definitely put myself in a bracket and didn't allow myself to succeed when I was a makeup artist.
To flip devil's advocate on it though, do you think that it's made our generation more motivated?
I think people are more hungry to get to a certain point. I don't think it's a healthy thing. I do and don't think it's healthy. Like, it's healthy to have drive and it's healthy to have ambition for bigger and better things for your life. But at the same time, I think there comes with a point where you've got to be realistic with your goals in time frames. Like, I remember when I first met you and you had a list of goals that you had to hit by the age of 27 or 28.
Yeah.
And I remember reading your goals and I was thinking, I mean, good for you, but at the same time, don't be upset if you don't hit these, because these are big. These are big. So it's I get it, but at the same time, I think there's got to be a point where you're realistic about certain things.
Yeah. I mean, I remember writing those goals and I remember having the screensaver on the phone and I guess it wasn't necessarily about the goals. It was just about getting up every day and feeling motivated and reminding myself these are the things that I need in life, when actually I didn't need any of them.
I think with your social media though, if you're finding comparison culture is your biggest thing, you have to mute certain people and you have to either turn your Instagram into your following or your favorites. So if you favorite people that make you feel good, that when you do doom scroll or you do anything like that, that's the people that will come up rather than all these other people that make you feel shit about yourself, basically.
100%. Doom scrolling was another one that was on the list.
Yeah. That'll be habit number 2. I think when you do doom scroll, you've got to find out why you're doing it. Like, I doom scroll when a TV show isn't satisfying me, which is actually quite bad that I've gone from one thing to the next. And then also, if I'm in bed and I know I'm about to go to sleep, I will literally just try and get in as many as possible, which is really, really bad, until it gets me to a point where I'm like, oh my God, I'm so tired. But ultimately, the things that you're viewing on your phone will probably trigger something in your brain that will make you think, oh, tomorrow I should probably do that, or I should create something like that. But again, comparison culture right before you go to bed, which is going to spark anxiety. And then eventually you're just going to have a really poor sleep.
Yeah, and I think doom scrolling, because I actually had to look this up, what doom scrolling was. I didn't actually know what the terminology meant, but I knew what it was when I started reading it. And it's definitely something that I've done before, but don't do anymore. But doom scrolling is just like, it's when you get addicted to scrolling to negative news, or you feel that you're missing out. That's what doom scrolling is.
Yeah, like you've got to catch up with everything that everyone else has done in their day. Yeah, I know what you're saying. It's
otherwise, it gives you anxiety.
You don't know what's been going on.
You don't know what's going on. And I've got away from that now, but that's what doom scrolling is.
I think my next habit will definitely to be switching my socials off at like 6 o'clock at night and not touching them.
Yeah. I mean, that's something that like we should talk about when it comes to fixing these habits, but 100%, like you don't want to get into that. Another one that I was reading about, which reminded me of you a lot, was tying your worth to likes.
Yeah.
Tying your worth to likes.
How sad though that you instantly thought of me when it comes to stuff like that.
Yeah, it is quite sad because I have had lots of conversations with you. We'll be sitting on the sofa, and you'll be looking at the views or the likes on reels that you've posted.
Yeah.
And it will make you feel a certain way or determine your day, which 100%. I find really weird.
Yeah. For me, it's more of like, if I post something and it doesn't do well, I instantly think, okay, I put a lot of time and effort into that. And I've posted it with me, which means that I love it and I want to put it out there for my followers. If it doesn't get views and it doesn't get likes, I instantly think, what's wrong with the video? Is it me that's in the video, or is it the products? I analyze every aspect of the video, not only for my followers. I think, well, why don't they like it? I think, oh my God, the brand that I've tagged, like they're going to see that I've got like no views on it and they won't want to work with me. That's where I spiral, because I've got an end goal of what I want to achieve, and that viewing figure isn't going to get me there.
Yeah.
So, but then I need to think Instagram has an algorithm. Like it more than likely wouldn't be me, but I think that it always is.
I can totally understand from a creative perspective when you spent a lot of time creating a post or creating a reel that you want that post to do well. Like that's just natural with any kind of creative art form. Like you putting it out into the world, you want people to perceive it well, and you want it to do well. So I do understand that, but I guess
I think a lot
tying your worth to it though.
Yeah, but I also think that a lot of people chase validation.
Yeah.
So a lot of people post a picture in order for comments to make them feel good about themselves. And I think that's a really toxic feeling to have and a toxic way to go about your day. So if I've posted a selfie with a new haircut and I haven't got 100 comments, people commenting on my new haircut, I shouldn't be like, oh my God, I look awful now. Do you know what I mean? Like, but a lot of people do that. And a lot of girls especially like will delete pictures or archive pictures that haven't done well. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the day, like it's just social media.
Yeah.
It's not real.
You need to let that shit go.
It really, like, the more you think about it, like, it's not real life. There's no point. Like, I just don't really.
Yeah, well, you're taking the fun part out of it.
Yeah.
Which is the creative part.
Yeah.
Putting it out there isn't the fun part.
I mean, when we first opened Instagram, when I was younger anyway, I just used to put anything up. I used to get one like, if that.
Yeah.
And I used to be like, oh my God, I love it. Like, it used to be a really fun just space to be in. I used to see what people were doing. It was nice. Whereas now I just think it's super competitive. And yeah, it's just a comparison social media platform, basically.
Yeah. Well, oversharing for approval is habit number 4 that we wanted to talk about. I do relate a little bit to this.
No, you don't.
I do, and I'll tell you
How?
why. I'll tell you why.
You share nothing.
Yeah, and I'll tell you why. Because I've got self-diagnosed OCD, right? Mm-hmm. So that always has my brain like thinking about, should I put this out? Should I put this out? Is it going to look good? Is it going to look good? Mm-hmm. And 9 times out of 10, I'll say no. So I actually just don't post. Mm-hmm. Like it's very rare that I'll post something on my main feed. But then the part that does relate to me is like, I'll just randomly drop 10 or 15 stories that have no meaning or no purpose. And it's almost like a little wave to say, I'm still here to all the followers and all the people. And that's my oversharing.
But with that, when it comes like, so you putting that up, I don't let people into my life in a sense. Like I'll show my walk and stuff like that. I don't show my actual life. And I don't think I show my personality. I don't show big things that go on because it opens boundaries for people to ask questions. So people that you don't know on your social media are messaging you, asking you the questions that a friends and family should be asking. So you're opening all these boundaries that it's kind of like, if I didn't overshare, I wouldn't have people crossing the boundaries because you wouldn't allow that in real life. You wouldn't go on a hike and go to someone, I don't know, just sharing something that you didn't need to share with someone random on a hike. And then them asking you a random question back and you're like, why are you asking me that? Like, I don't even know you. It's that situation, but online. Yeah. Does that make sense? Like, that's why I don't like to overshare because I actually don't really like people knowing my full business.
Yeah. I like privacy as well.
Like no one shows their bad days on social media unless you are that type of creator. Some people do it, which is great. But 9 times out of 10, no one does that. And if I had probably put half of my life from the back end of last year on social media, I wouldn't have wanted the amount of people probably that would have reached out to be like, what's going on with you? Blah, blah, blah. Like, I don't need to tell people. Do you know? But
then is oversharing another form of like attention seeking?
Yeah, validation. It's external validation. It's all of social media is external validation, surely.
Because if you think about it, you're putting something out there for people to interact with, whether it's good or bad. Mm. And that's basically having like a dopamine hit on attention and people communicating with you in some way, whether they know you or not.
Yeah.
And
I also think another thing about oversharing is, are you going to look back and regret that you overshared or you shared that certain part? Because once it's on the internet, it's on the internet.
But is undersharing good? I could be classed as an undersharer.
You're definitely an undersharer. I mean, it keeps the questions alive, you know, like people are always, for me especially when it comes to you and your personality, you're naturally a quiet person. Unless they really know you, you're not. But a lot of people that are in your circle that don't really know you want to know you. And they could have been in your presence for like 5-6 years and they still don't fully know you because you're a closed book when it comes to sharing yourself.
I have always found beauty in like reservation though. Like,
and the not knowing.
Yeah, and the not knowing. Like I've always found intrigue in that. When you meet people, I wonder what you come up with all these different conspiracies.
Less
of like,
is more.
What do they have? You know, who are they? What do they do? Yeah. And I've always enjoyed that. So I do think I do fall into that category a little bit.
Yeah.
But I could definitely share way more.
Well, you certainly are now. People are going to get to know them.
Which is another thing about the vlog that I wasn't sure about doing, but
I know, but I feel like that's not oversharing. That's just showing like, well, I guess it is oversharing.
Yeah. Well, you're opening up your whole life.
Right, well, we've got 4 out of the 5 habits down to a T that we do personally every single day. So I think we need some self-reflection after this. Habit 5, which I love, is consuming instead of creating.
Yeah.
So for that one, it's kind of, you consume all this stuff that's on social media, but what are you actually doing yourself? So instead of sitting there and taking in someone's matcha recipe, which I do all the time, why don't I make my own? Why don't I put my creative skills to the test and do something else?
Yeah. Social media's got a great way of sucking you in and giving you nothing back. Like, you can just fall into that trap for hours and hours. Like, all the best intentions of creating something, going on there looking for inspiration, and then next thing you know, you're watching some clamp crush a Coke can for like 3 hours.
No, that is,
and you're like, what happened? It was like 12 and now it's like 3 and all I've seen are like Coke cans.
I know, but then you're just completely like dissatisfied with what you've done, and then you're just annoyed at yourself, and then you're like, I'm just not doing it. Like, the moment's passed.
The moment's gone and you've lost it.
Yeah.
It is a bit weird what the mind is attracted to, though.
Yeah, but that, what you're saying, that's all like ASMR and comfort watching. People love comfort watching, and that's why a lot of the time good podcasts do well as well. Yeah. Because people like a comfort. That's what that is.
What's one of the weirdest ones you've seen?
Do you know what I just get in a trap of? And there's this one girl, I don't know who she is, she's blonde, but she makes her own sweets. And the camera's literally like here, it's only her head. And she's obviously got a mic on, but she creates her plates, which I watch. And by the plate, I mean it's like a massive plate full of sweets. And she puts them down one by one. I watch every single placement of that sweet. Then I watch her eat it, crack it, chew it in her mouth, which I find so gross at the same time. Like, but that's my biggest thing. I love watching that.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you was to sit next to me and eat a sweet and be munching away, I would be like.
One of the weirdest ones that I've seen, I don't do this though, but I have seen it and I have watched it out of like pure interest, is when people watch other people play PlayStation games.
What?
I think it's Twitch, or there's a website you can go on and you basically watch another person play the game. And it's really strange. Yeah, it's really strange.
That's a game as well, though.
Yeah.
I'm not in that.
And they just watch them for hours. Instead of playing the game themselves, they just watch other people play the game.
Interesting.
Really strange. But we're not judging. We're not here to judge.
No, I'm judging myself, though, because out of the 5 habits, I've got 5. You've got 4.
Whatever people like to do in their free time's up to them. But when you spend too much time doing it,
yeah, it's an unhealthy place to be. One other thing, though, that I will say before we get into the 3 healthy habits that you should start doing, is you can put that bit on your phone where it tells you if you've done too much scrolling, it will come up with a flag and it will basically say, get off this app. Obviously, you can dismiss it. It's very easy, but you should get off of it. Yeah. I've added that to my TikTok.
Someone gave me an app called Pomodoro once, which is basically a timer, a bit like your one, and it just goes off. But I only used it a couple of times and then stopped using it. I was going to say, I've
never heard it
People use it for like work as well.
Yeah, but do you know what you actually spend a lot of time on? Redfin.
Yeah, I do.
And like Rightmove. Sometimes you even sit on Uber Eats and just have a little look.
I just love looking at other people's houses and stuff. Like, yeah. I'm interested in like property and buying property and that, but I do find it quite fascinating.
But I guess that's not an unhealthy habit because you're kind of probably setting yourself up for a goal.
Loads of people do that. I can guarantee you loads of people sit on property websites.
Yeah, that is true. Right, let's get into the 3 small ways that you can basically get rid of an unhealthy relationship, toxic relationship with your social media.
One of the first ways, I think we mentioned this in one of the habits, was creation before consumption. Like, that was a major focal point because to just sit there and not create anything is kind of against the point of
social media.
And we've been talking about this quite a lot, actually, like, especially since we've been doing the vlog and the podcast, like actually sitting there and planning stuff out, whether you're on your own or with somebody else, having a written diary or a digital diary, planning out content, really just getting into the mode of I'm going to create, definitely does work.
Yeah.
There's loads of good digital digital diaries, digital
like planners.
Schedules and planners. You can get
I'm
them off
pretty
of
sure the
Etsy.
iPhone has like a checklist as well that you can add into your phone, which I think is really handy.
I see a really cool one on Etsy as well. So
Yeah.
maybe we'll pop a link in for that.
I like all that sort of stuff, but I do like pen to paper.
Yeah, you're kind of old school.
I know, I don't really like all this like iPhone,
Me
iPad notes. Charlie highlights everything and sections it all and has it all in folders, and it's really great. And then I'm just like, where's my one notepad? And I'm just going through all the pages, like trying to find it.
Yeah, we're so different.
I know.
We are actually so different. One of the other ones was, again, like suggesting spending 10 minutes a day of doing something that isn't necessarily scrolling. So journaling, stretching, exercising.
Yeah, but it's more the habits of, so when you're setting your day up, as soon as you wake up, don't pick your phone up. Like, it's unhealthy. It's going to set the tone for your day. Instead, go outside, get some vitamin, whatever, do whatever, take a walk. And then before bed again, put your phone down at a certain time, or journal. Or I was listening to a podcast where this guy said that as soon as he wakes up, he instantly tells himself that he's going to have a good day. I say it in my head because sometimes I think, well, you're asleep, so you wouldn't listen anyway. And then at night, he also says, oh my God, I had a great day. And he'll pinpoint things that he enjoyed, and it'll be like really tiny, tiny things that he's super grateful for. So throughout the day, you go to bed, you wake up and you've had a good day because you're instantly positive. And then towards the end of the day, you're setting the tone for your sleep as well.
We do actually clash on this subject quite a lot.
What?
Because this is like technically talking about morning routines and not waking up and as soon as your eyes open, you pick up your phone. So your morning routine compared to my morning routine is completely different.
No, we're like passing ships.
Yeah. And you like to get up early. You like to go and sit on your phone for a bit.
Yeah.
Not necessarily scrolling, but you are talking to family members.
Yeah.
Obviously being on a different time zone. Talking to family members, you might catch up on a show that you really like that you know I'm not going to watch.
Yeah.
And we just have different mornings. I like to wake up. I actually don't look at my phone straight away.
No.
I don't do that. And I definitely don't do it for longer than 10 minutes. It probably takes me about 30 to 45 minutes.
That's healthy though.
Yeah. Because I don't want to think about, as soon as I open that phone, I'm doing two things. Working and getting straight into work from the moment I wake up, or I'm going on social media.
Yeah.
So I don't want to do either of those things as soon as I wake up. I like slow mornings. I like enjoying my coffee. I like talking to you sometimes. Like just come out, sit over there, have a little chat about what the day's going to look like.
Yeah.
I'm not big on exercise in the morning.
Oh, I love it. Sets me up for the day. I like a good sweat. I like to track everything. So as soon as it's done, I'm like, right, cool. Now I'm free to create. Yeah. That's my mind frame. Unless I haven't got any of that done, that's just going to ruin my day because I'm instantly going to think, oh, I've got to go and train at X, Y, and Z time. I've got to drive there. I've got to be ready. Like, it's so different for a girl. She has a lot of things to take into consideration.
Not even for a girl. Like, I was just thinking about a lot of people I know, whether they're business entrepreneurs or, you know, mums, dads. They like doing physical exercise early in the morning.
Yeah, because you've got your most energy. You've just had like a 9-hour sleep. You've had a coffee probably. And then you're like, bam, I've got to get this done. No one enjoys it. I like certain classes, but no one enjoys that actual stuff, really.
No, but I feel like for me, I'm just someone who likes mental routine.
Yeah, I know. But then it gets so late in the day and then you go, oh, there's no time.
Yeah, but when I'm training and doing something, walking, exercising, all I'm thinking about is all the other things I need to do.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
So unless I get...
Yeah, but at least that way, then you're giving yourself like a mental to-do list, mental clarity. So when you sit down, you're like, right, I've really thought about that. This is where I need to start and this is what I need to do. When you sit down, you're like, there's like 10 things basically sat here. And then you're like, oh, which one do I start on today?
Yeah, but I like just sitting there and having a moment and organising it myself. I don't like doing the exercising straight off the bat.
Yeah.
And then all I can think about is getting away from the exercise. Like walking. Oh, no, I've got like 30, 45, an hour to walk.
Yeah,
all I can think about is getting through the walk.
Yeah, but our time, we're on a different time zone as well. So it's different for you because you've got UK people that you need to catch up with before they go to sleep.
I like getting up, sitting over there, drinking my coffee, kind of taking in and digesting what today's going to look like, doing a bit of it, especially on the UK time zone. And then when that time zone goes on, then I don't mind exercising and doing something.
I think that social media put the stigma and the pressure in people that you had to wake up at 5 a.m.
100%.
And I read a book by a girl called Emily. It's called Smarter. A beautiful blue book, same as your thing.
Yeah.
And it's taken away that stigma that you don't need to be doing stuff like that.
Another book that I read once
Yeah.
in my early 20s was the 6 a.m. Club. And just what a load of bollocks that was. Like, and it was from like a top author as well. And I remember reading that and I was like, I've got to get up at 6 a.m. I've got to break this routine. It's going to take me
I won't be successful unless I wake up at 6 a.m.
Makes so much sense, so much more time during the day, get ahead of everybody. But you're just joining the rat race, aren't you?
Yeah.
Of like trying to get ahead of everybody, trying to work and fit more work into those hours. But actually, I felt like my most happiest is when I have a good bedtime routine and I get up and I have a nice morning and I just set myself up for the day.
I just think just make your own routine. Like, it's your morning, it's your life, it's your work. You need to read that book, actually.
Yeah.
I think
there's loads of books that we need to read.
I know, there really is. But
one of the best books that I read was that Atomic Habits. That was a good book.
Yeah. So many people have read that.
Yeah, really good book. And actually talked sense in it. You know.
Another thing to do in order to make your social media a bit more healthy is muting people.
Yeah.
I know we're smiling because we both do it. I don't know anyone that doesn't do this, by the way. If you follow like over 1,000 people, I know that you've got the majority of them on mute.
I'm a professional muter in life.
You're a professional muter and so am I.
Professional
I do
muter.
think it's healthy. It's healthy to do but then at the same time, like, why are you following them people anyway? But obviously you're obliged to follow certain people, but you don't like the stuff they put out there and how it makes you feel. So they get muted. And that's just how it is. You don't want to ruffle any feathers by unfollowing. So the nicest thing to do is to retain the follow, but just to mute the content because it makes you feel a certain way. I feel like for me, when I mute people, it's purely out of protecting my peace. Yeah. It's the only reason I do it.
I mute people for different reasons and I unfollow people for different reasons. Not even necessarily because they're a bad person or like their energy's bad. Sometimes it just doesn't fit into what my mind frame is. And it depends what I'm doing. If I'm trying to be creative, if I'm trying to do something and I'm motivated to do something, I just don't want to look at that every day.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily that they're doing something bad. It just doesn't fit in with my life.
Yeah, like where you're at now and the things you're doing.
Yeah.
That sort of stuff doesn't fit in.
Sometimes you outgrow things, you outgrow people. It just doesn't get your creative juices flowing. Like there's lots of things that I don't like to do. I think another really good thing and another good point I want to make is like the explore page on Instagram.
It's a weird world.
That is a weird world. How that algorithm works is weird.
That suggests things for you from your followers and the things you like and the things you comment on.
Yeah.
But
I want to make a point. I've been on that page and I have been on the settings and tried to change what it suggests to me, because some of the stuff that comes up, you're just like,
why are you suggesting
where does this even come from?
Yeah.
And I have genuinely tried to change it, and it might do it for a day.
And then it'll go back.
And then it puts it back into what it wants you to see again. And it's just a weird world. That explore page is not a good page to be on.
I don't think I ever click on that, if I'm honest.
But
that's because I get that sort of unfiltered, targeted stuff on TikTok. So like people I don't follow, I just scroll and I come up with new faces, new content and whatever. That's where I get that fix on TikTok. That's why I never touch that page.
Yeah, I mean, TikTok's a
whole different ballgame.
A whole different world as well.
I think TikTok, I'm only 33, but I do think it's quite a young platform.
Yeah.
Like you wouldn't catch me on there doing dances and voiceovers to stuff. Like I would honestly die if I did that.
No, we'd be classed as millennials.
Yeah.
And Gen Z.
They're the ones.
Came after us.
What is it they do with the hearts that we never know? So we do that.
Is it like that?
I don't even know if it is like that.
I think it's like this. Like we go like that.
Yeah.
The millennials do that.
But they do this.
But they do this thing where it's like.
Yeah, but they also do this thing where they walk past each other and they instantly go like this and the other person does that. But I can't even get my fingers into that shape.
I see people do it and I'm like, I don't know how they naturally do that.
I know, they do some mental stuff.
But yeah, Gen Z, they love TikTok.
Yeah,
they really love it.
Killing it. It's a beast of a business though. You get it right, you earn a fortune on there.
Do you think though, and I'm just talking off the cuff here,
Oh no.
that TikTok is kind of killing the real creativeness that Instagram once preserved? There's like,
oh yeah,
you think about how we evolved on Instagram. Like you said it earlier, you just post some blurry pic, bad filter, and like whatever. But now to get really good engagement likes, the content has to be high quality. And TikTok is kind of removing that.
I don't agree, because I think TikTok's your unfiltered everyday life content, trending, kind of not staged. It's bam, you do it, it's there. Instagram is very thought out. Instagram is brand deals, pretty pictures, holidays, aesthetic. That's someone's kind of like CV kind of portfolio vibe.
Yeah.
Whereas TikTok is personality. If I follow an influencer on TikTok and I like her as a person, I will go on her Instagram to see her vibe. And 9 times out of 10, I don't follow them on Instagram.
Yeah, people's Instagrams and TikToks are completely different, aren't they?
Yeah.
Instagram's like the perception of somebody, but TikTok is kind of, I wouldn't even say it's the real person, because a lot of it's staged anyway.
Yeah, like that's what I mean. Like Instagram's not really real.
Really, TikTok, you have to be extremely entertaining, I think.
I don't think entertaining. I think you've just got to have a certain niche to your content. Like you could create a series around anything and it do well. Like all of my followers are purely makeup girls or girls that just constantly go out, and I just I love watching their night stories. Like that's literally it.
Yeah. I think the point I'm trying to make is to be a personality on TikTok, you've got to be really interesting, really entertaining.
You've got to be an oversharer.
To be a big profile on Instagram, you don't really have to talk very much.
No, you could be a complete mute and just...
As long as you're a 10 out of 10...
doing the good content.
And have some inspiring life that people think that you have, that can be a really big Instagram page.
Yeah.
So very different. We all know about everything we've just spoken about.
I know. But we all still do it.
We all still do it.
But if it makes you feel a certain way, start to tap into that and just make adjustments.
Until next time.
It's the One More Like podcast. Low-key likers, remember to subscribe, comment, give us a thumbs up, and we'll see you next time.